This is your ultimate Google Slides beginner's guide. Hey friends, I'm Tasia Custode and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I share tech tips, app reviews, and enough Google content that it should be illegal. In this video, we're gonna cover how to use Google Slides. So we're talking navigating Google Slides, creating presentations, exporting and presenting, and so much more. So with that, this is your Google Slides tutorial 2022. Let's go. So first things first, what is Google Slides? Google Slides is a free web-based presentation program. It's essentially Google's answer to PowerPoint. You can create presentations in Google Slides if you have a Google account or Google Workspace account for business use. So now that we know what Google Slides is, let's learn how to access Google Slides. You can actually access Google Slides a couple of different ways. First, you can access slides from either your Gmail, Gcal, Google Drive, Google Meet, and a host of other Google apps you might already be in. So to do so, you're gonna click on the Google Apps icon near the top right of your Gmail or Photos or Drive or what have you, and you just scroll down to Slides. And click on the Slides icon to open Google Slides. And here, Slides will pop open for you in a new tab. Alternatively, if you're already in Google Drive, you don't need to navigate away. You can head to the top left, click on New, and then select Google Slides. Doing this will take you right to a new blank presentation rather than your slides homepage. However, you can use a couple browser shortcuts as well. So head to your browser bar and type in slides.google.com. And that will take you right to your Google Slides if you've signed into your Google account. Or you can type in slides.new, and then that's gonna open up a new blank slides presentation for you. This browser bar trick actually works in any browser, and if you're not already signed into your Google account, you'll just be prompted to sign in from there. And by the way, this trick works for your suite of Google apps. So think Gmail, Calendar, Google Docs, Google Photos, and so on. So now let's dive more into depth on how to use Google Slides. So if you've never created a presentation or no one has ever shared a presentation with you, your Google Slides page will look a little bit bare except for some templates at the top. So there's actually a couple of different ways to create a presentation in Google Slides. You can do the shortcuts to a blank presentation like I just showed you, or you can start a presentation from a template. If you rather start from a template than from scratch, there are actually a lot more templates here than it seems. Click on where it says Template Gallery near the top, and you're gonna be taken to the full template gallery to explore a ton of options. This is really handy when you're just getting started with slides and you wanna work off an already existing template to save some time. But let's go back and start a new presentation from scratch. So we're gonna click on the Start a New Presentation option, and remember there are the shortcuts to this. And now we're just going to be in a new blank presentation. The first thing we want to do is name the presentation. So up in the top left, just like we'd name a Google Doc or sheet, we're going to click on the untitled presentation and just simply give it a name. So this can be anything that makes sense here for you. So think like maybe a project or client or team or things like that. And now that we've created and named our presentation, let's get familiar with the layout of Google Slides. So up at the top, under our presentation name, we've got a bunch of tools that we're gonna dive into shortly. So to the left is where all the slides we create will be organized. Obviously, right now, we just have one slide. In the middle of your screen, we've got the slide that we're working on. And then to the very right, you may notice that Google Slides gives us a bunch of themes we can choose from. So if you don't like this kind of plain layout you have here, you can pick a theme from the side and jazz up your presentation a little bit. Now, before we go and create an entire presentation with a bunch of slides, you may want to adjust your aspect ratio depending on your project. So head to File, then Page Setup, And here in this pop-up, you can choose an aspect ratio. I'd recommend sticking to widescreen 16:9, but you might need something different, and this is where you would do that. And yes, you can create a custom aspect ratio here as well. So now let's actually start editing our Google Slides. With your slides selected, simply click the text to edit it. And of course, you can select the text in order to format it however you like. So you can change the font, the size of the font, the color, you can make it bold, and so on. Now, we already quickly selected a theme from Google here, but let's say you don't like the background, or you just have a plain background maybe and you want to change that. You can do this really easily. Just make sure you have the slide selected, and now you'll get a background option near the top. So simply click on background, and here you can change the color. You're going to be able to add a custom color, or you can even select a gradient. You could also add an image to your background, and you have a lot of options here as to where you can upload an image from. But the Google image search option is really great. And if you prefer, you can reset to the original theme if you don't like any of the changes you've made. So if you want to change the layout of the slide, again, with it selected, just click on Layout and play around with any of these other layout options. This is purely based on your preferences. So now that we have our title slide the way that we want it, let's create a new slide. And of course, there are a couple of ways to do this. You can simply click the plus button near the top left, and that will create a slide that has a title and body text. Or if you hover over the arrow to the right of the plus button, you have the choice of creating a slide with a layout. Alternatively, you can right-click on the left-hand side and select New Slide to create a new slide. By the way, while we're here, if you want to quickly delete a slide, just select it and hit delete or backspace. Or if you want to rearrange a slide, just click it and drag that slide to where you want it. So now let's say we want to create a blank slide. I will hover over that arrow to the right of the plus symbol here and select the blank formatting option. So now let's add some text, links, and media to our new slide. Head on up to the text box and select that to simply draw a text box wherever you like on your slide. You can move this box around too by hovering your mouse over it until you get 4 arrows, and then just click and drag that text box to where you want it. Now click inside the text box to actually type your text. And then you can just grab the squares on the box to resize it however you want. So if you want to add a link to the slide, you can of course do that too. Simply select the text you want to add a link to and click the little link icon near the top. Then you can paste the URL where you'd like that to link to, and then just click apply. You can change the hyperlink color too if you'd like, by the way. So now let's add media to our slide. The quickest way to do this is to click on the little image icon. Just like we did with the title slide, you're gonna have the option of uploading from your computer, searching the web, Drive, Photos, etc. So simply select the photo you want to add, and then once it's on the slide, you can rearrange it and resize it however you like. So if you choose to add an image from the web, that's now going to appear on the right-hand side where those themes were. You can just use the search bar to search an image. And then here, what's cool is you can select one or actually multiple images if you want, and then select insert. And just so you know, you can set a link for an image as well if you want the image to be clickable, just like we did for that text. But what's more useful is replacing an image. So let's say you have an image exactly where you want it on your slide, but you want to replace it and then keep that formatting the same. Just select the image on the slide and then select Replace Image. Now the new image you select will instantly replace that existing image for you. So if you want to delete an image, just simply select it and hit delete or backspace. And if you want to crop an image, double click on it and then drag in on any of those black lines to crop it where you want. And you'll just click off of the image to set that crop. Now, of course, to undo anything you just did, you can hit Command Z or Control Z. So I'm gonna go ahead and create another new slide. And now I wanna add a video to this slide. Let's head on up to Insert and select Video. Here we can search YouTube to add a video, which is super handy. You can search via a URL, or you can pull a video from your Google Drive. So once you've added a video, you're gonna have additional formatting options to the right, which I won't get into in this beginner's video, but just know that they are there. Using Insert, you can also add audio to a slide in a similar way. The difference here is the only way to add audio to Google Slides is to already have the audio file in your Google Drive. So keep that in mind. But once that file's in your Drive, you'll just select it and add it to your slide. And it'll be added as a little speaker icon on your slide. And now let's quickly go over other things you can add to Google Slides. You can add shapes, arrows, callouts, and equations. You can add charts like bar graphs and pie charts and so on. And by the way, to edit in a chart you add, you click on the downward facing arrow to the right and select Open Source. This is gonna open a new sheet where you can edit the elements of the chart. Then once that chart is edited, back in your slide, just select Update to show the changes. You can also insert a diagram, and Google gives you some really nice options here to choose from. And of course, you'll just customize anything that you select. You can also insert word art, which is a really quick way to punch up your text on your slides. And you can add lines, arrows, scribbles, and so on. All right, I promise we're nearing the end of this tutorial, but if you're liking this video so far, please remember to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. Okay, now that we have the basics of Google Slides down, it's time to learn how to add transitions and animations to our Google Slides. Of course, there are a few ways to do this. So with the slide selected, you can either right-click and select transition, or you can just click on transition up at the top. This will open up the motion options to the right of your slide. Here at the top is where you can set the slide transition and the speed of the transition. You're also gonna have the option to apply the transition to all of your slides if you want. You're gonna know that your slide has a transition if it is marked with a little transition symbol to the left of it in that preview window. But transitions are only part of the fun. Any element you add to your slide can be animated. So simply select the element, and then here on the right, our object animations option is going to be popped up for us. Now, if you don't have that appearing on the right, it's probably because you weren't already in the slide transition selection. So no worries, you would just select your object on the slide and then click on animate at the top. So now under object animations, you can add an animation, select how you want that animation to appear, as well as the speed of the animation. Then you can actually hit the play button to preview what the transition and object animations look like. Now let's quickly talk about collaborating in Google Slides. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but just like you can in virtually any of your other Google apps, you can collaborate in Slides too. Head on up to the share button in the top right and click on that to access your sharing options. Here, you can manually add people, set the access if you want more or less restrictions, or simply create and copy a link to your Google slide. By now, you've pretty much mastered the basics of Google Slides. So now all that's left to learn is how to present, export, and download Google Slides. And yes, this is all pretty easy to do too. Thanks, Google. So first, to present, You're gonna head up to the slideshow option near the top right, and you can simply hit the slideshow button, or you can click the downward facing arrow to the right to open up presenter view. So this will start the slideshow with presenter notes and audience Q&A, or you can present on another screen from here too. Now to download Google Slides, you just have to head up to File, hover over Download, and then select your export options. This is how to export Google Slides as PowerPoint files. Or you can actually download the current selected slide as a JPEG or PNG image. It's really that easy. So if you got a lot out of this Google Slides beginner's guide and maybe you want a more advanced Google Slides tutorial, just let me know in the comments below and I'll get cracking on that video for you. So that's my Google Slides beginner's guide. Did you learn everything you hoped? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, well, I want to know. So give it a like, a share, or leave that comment below. You can click right about here to subscribe to my channel, and here for more Google content. You know you wanna. Thanks for watching. See you next time.